I watched these movies as a kid in complete random order. It was like I'd get a new VHS from Target every time I go for like $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I watched them completely out of order. And for 10, 12-year-old little Charles, it was like, okay, wait, I thought that guy was Blofeld, but then that's Blofeld, but then that's also Blofeld, but then Blofeld has doubles. It was so odd as a kid that I always attributed the Bond world to something closer to Batman, right? Where don't even keep track of Batman and the Joker, right? Because every new story is just going to be, well, forget everything that's already happened, and it's just like, just take these characters and put them in a new place.
Yeah.
When you do watch them in order, though, there is a clear logic between them all. And we pointed out how certain things don't add up, like in Secret Service, they don't recognize each other. There are certain things that you have to ignore to just enjoy the show. But there is kind of a through line throughout. And
yeah, definitely through the Connery films, it adds up.
But with Connery, what's interesting is you only live twice. And then, they do kind of try to pretend like Secret Service never happened. But then when you get to Diamonds Are Forever, it's almost like you wish that You Only Live Twice had been given the Diamonds Are Forever treatment, where You Only Live Twice is fun. Same old disclaimer. Love all these movies. But Diamonds Are Forever makes up for being awful by being fucking hilarious and being so much fun and not giving a shit. Right? Whereas You Only Live Twice would have benefited almost by jumping that shark and being even more funny and joke-filled and ridiculous. This Blofeld, compared to the You Only Live Twice Blofeld, is fun. I don't think I would necessarily... I'm always going to opt for like the dark, stark, and depressing stuff, so I do think that Secret Service Blofeld is a more diabolical guy. That Blofeld and Hidden Blofeld, I think, are just superior on quality terms. But when it comes to goofiness... If only they could have brought in Charles Gray to be Blofeld in You Only Live Twice and had him throughout the movie. The guy has a face of putty. And like he's straight up the Joker. Like he grins at one point. He's so dramatic. At one point he like picks up that phone and he turns to camera and he's like, "Yes, bring my battle sub."
This is not the madness.
One more word, Met, and I'll have you shot. Get back to your post. Prepare my battle sub immediately.
He's like the Joker. He's fun to watch be evil.
This guy cross-dresses. This guy cross-dresses in this film.
Yes.
That's true.
That's the best part.
In the same way that Bond is somebody different in every scene, so is Blofeld. Like they're literally the same, but different. And he straight up cross-dresses to get out of it. He didn't need to do that, but he did because he's just a crazy, maniacal, super
The last
super
three
evil
movies
genius.
have lowered Blofeld's peg for me.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I disagree. I think the second Blofeld's a little, like the second scene Blofeld's definitely better than the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think You Only Live Twice Blofeld is just like nothing. Like I wish they would have taken his cartoonishness and they would have spread it across the whole movie. Oh, they did that with this movie.
Yeah,
they took cartoon Blofeld, who's just fun. Like, straight up, they have a scene where there's two Blofelds, and Bond has to choose which one is the real Blofeld. And it's just like he can do anything now. Like he's just a super evil genius.
Of him having multiple Blofelds. Scott, the scene that you're talking about is one of the strangest, most illogical scenes in the film. Because if you remember,
that's why I love
Tiffany Case is talking to Q, which it's like, why are you here? Like, Q, what are you doing here, bud? He's here for some reason.
Because audiences like Q.
Just
that's
rigging Vegas. Why wouldn't you? If you were Q, why the would you
they
not
like that
rig
Q
Vegas?
guy, so let's just have him.
He made everything. He made all the money.
Yeah, but then Tiffany Case is like talking to Mr. Q and like, maybe you can help me out and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden she looks over and she's like,
cat.
Wait, I'll be right back. And then
she
goes,
recognizes the cat.
Look what the cat dragged in.
But she never met the cat.
She's never seen
doesn't
Blofeld.
know who
she doesn't
Blofeld
know any,
is.
like,
I'm delighted to meet you, Miss Case.
she has no idea. Like, I mean, again, you could maybe make the assumption that, oh, she maybe met Blofeld in this operation, but it's like there's no evidence to suggest that. So
I mean,
it's
the
just very
chauffeur
weird
does
scene.
then shove her into the car, so it's like,
But she's like,
do they
but she
recognize it?
actively looking for that person. Like she leaves to look
But
for
that's what I mean.
the woman and the cat.
That's one element in a massive list of shit that doesn't make sense or add up. But I'm so willing to forgive it because this movie isn't trying to be serious. Every movie before this you can critique, you can approach it logically and be like, nah, and that's what we've done for 6 episodes is like, none of this stuff makes sense and none of this adds up. But that's in movies that ask you to take them seriously. This movie never asks you to take it seriously. Not once.
When it comes to movies, I'm naturally illogical. So when I see a motherfucker walk through a casino with a cat, I'm like, surely he's powerful. That makes sense. That's how it tied together.
I don't know what.
How do you react when you see an elephant playing slots?
Perfect. I love it. Makes
one
sense.
time we talked about, I think we talked about You Only Live Twice, and I was talking about how a trend in these films is that if the movie goes too fantastical, the next movie is going to be dark and grim, or is it's going to be more realistic. By that logic, though, does that mean that if the film goes too dark, that the next movie is going to be lighthearted? We'll have to see, because I'm wondering if that's the case in some of these later films.
It's as if Sean Connery came in to grease the slide for Roger Moore to be goofy as f***. It's like you have this weird transition. It's like stuff got really dark, and then it's like reset the clock and open the door to straight up Bond goofiness. The irony is that, most people would associate Bond goofiness with Roger Moore, but we're seeing here that Sean Connery is the one who introduced it. He ushered in the era of
he anchored
goofiness.
the concept.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, it's fun.
This movie's a slate wiping.
Yeah,
totally.
It's like try to compare the next Bond movie and the next actor to this shit.
Yeah.
I want to ask Patterson specifically though about Blofeld, because you were very harsh on Secret Service Blofeld. And this is like on the spectrum of Blofeld I laid out last week.
I'm kind of with Nans on this one, where it's like it almost would have been better if I had just not watched this with any context whatsoever. This is the movie that like my wife, who hates Bond, can't stand watching these movies. This is the movie that she pictures in her head. And to that effect, like I think Blofeld, more so than I would say any other element of the movie, he basically is Dr. Evil. Like it's just goofiness. I think it's more entertaining. It's like I thought I had it figured out the last episode, like what I want to see in Blofeld. After I was like, okay, that's what I don't want to see in him. And now this movie is making me kind of take it in a completely different direction of like, maybe it's okay to just have a campy Blofeld. And maybe it's better for him to be that. Like, I think on your spectrum, I think flesh and blood Blofeld, the more you bring him into the light, the goofier he gets.
He has to escalate.
Yeah.
He can't just be a guy running an allergy clinic. He has to be capable of literally taking over the life of some billionaire in a penthouse to take advantage of his money in order to pull off another devious world-stealing plot, right? This is the summer blockbuster of Bond, not the dark independent film that we saw last time. Like, nobody's crying over a dead wife in this movie. This movie, again, the subtitle of this movie is F*** It.
Yeah.
None of this makes
really
sense.
Is.
It's just like at one point, like, please, somebody explain to me the scene where Bond is, again, pretending to be somebody else. He's doing the radiation shields. He's checking things out. He leaves, and suddenly he's on, I don't know, a movie set where they're like faking the moon landing.
What was?
And they're like, there he is behind those rocks. Like that's straight up out of Austin Powers. He gets into a lunar mobile and he
rover.
busts out. And I just laugh the whole time because every time they cut to that moon mobile, it's like, me, and there's Bond. There's James Bond, super spy, in that little bubble top. Me,
I love it.
It's
fucking
hysterical.
When they say behind the rocks, the astronauts don't even
They keep
react
moving
like normal
slowly.
people. They're we're
stay
still
in character
on the moon.
when they're trying to catch
They're
him.
staying
They're
in
like,
character
no.
trying to catch him, and that's also like for context.
brilliant.
Remember we talked about the space race in the last one, or in You Only Live Twice. Like it's still going on. People are still going to the moon at that point. So I think the idea was like, oh, they're faking the moon landing, because a lot of people still think that today.
Yeah.
But what's the question is, Willard White, did he decide to fake the moon landing, or was that Blofeld? Also, I just want to mention, why did Blofeld put a sculpture or a miniature of Baja California?
Baja, California. I haven't got a thing at Baja.
Exactly.
That makes no
Who
sense.
did that? What like assistant of his was like, well, I thought you wanted your diorama up to date all the time. So when you made the petroleum division, I went ahead and made the model and I put it in your little diorama, sir. Baja.
To further Patterson's point, I enjoy this jokey Blofeld more than
he's fun.
Exposed and weak Blofeld. I ultimately the best Blofeld is the hidden, ultra powerful shadows controlling
in a serious
everything.
movie.
Blofeld.
That's the way to approach it.
Yes, that's the best one. But Blofeld cross-dressing, exposed with multiple duplicates and people everywhere,
and multiple cats too,
and impersonating Texas people. You know,
Willard White speaking. Yes, Governor, I got your message.
That is, I think, my second favorite Blofeld, and that's what I loved about this, is how much of a joke it was. Because where do you go? You don't go back to Shadows Blofeld. You can't put him back in the shadows after you brought him out.
Yeah,
Pandora
for 2
doesn't
movies.
go back into the box.
Yeah. You can't hide him again and make him some like ultra secret character with tentacles and
he does
reaching out.
Scott, he does come back, but
well, he does. Yes,
he comes back in this franchise, I should say.
Yes,
but he's Moriarty
future
now.
Films,
He's Moriarty. He's the Joker. He's eternal. It's like, why doesn't Bond just kill him? Why doesn't he just kill Bond? That would be against the rules. They have too much fun fighting each other.
I do so enjoy our little visits, Mr. Bond.